I will never forget the day I became the only boy left in our village. The dawn had been silent, unusually so, with a stillness in the air that pressed down upon us like a thick blanket. I remember how the village animals, the goats and chickens that normally cried out as if speaking to each other, seemed to have gone mute. Even the village drums were still, as if the air had swallowed up all our sounds, preparing us for what was to come. Uncle had woken me early, his face grim as he held a bundle of cloth in his hands. "Obalewa," he said in a hushed, urgent tone, "today, you will not be a boy." I frowned, confusion prickling at my eyes. "But, uncle." "No questions," he interrupted, thrusting the cloth bundle into my arms. I unfolded it, feeling my fingers slide over the coarse, worn fabric of one of my aunt's wrappers. It was a faded yellow, decorated with small patterns of birds in flight. "Take off your shirt and wear this," he whispered. My heart drummed in my chest. This was Auntie Iabod's wrapper, and it still smelled faintly of the camwood paste she used to rub on her skin. Boys didn't wear women's clothes. And yet, Uncle's tone was fierce, a hint of terror shadowing his usual steady voice. So I slipped out of my tunic, feeling the cold morning air prickle my skin, and wrapped the fabric around myself, trying to knot it as I had seen Auntie do 1,000 times. Uncle watched me with worried eyes, his hand reaching out to smooth the edges of the wrapper, making sure it covered my small, bare chest. "Under the bed," he said quickly. "Lie flat on your stomach and make no sound. Do you hear me, Obalewa?" I nodded, crawling beneath the bed where shadows cloaked me. It was cramped under there, the space smelling of earth and wood. I hugged my knees to my chest, feeling the rough wrapper scratching my arms as Uncle pulled a heavy sack over the side, further blocking any view of me. In the darkness, I clutched a small carved stone in my hand, a token my father had given me before he left to join the warriors in defense of our village. Moments passed. I could hear my own breathing, shallow and quick, filling the small space under the bed. And then, like the distant rumble of thunder, I heard them. Hooves against the ground, the unmistakable sound of boots on our dusty paths. My heart clenched. The white men had arrived. They came in with a confidence that filled the air, their voices booming and foreign, like the crackle of lightning in the middle of the night. I heard shouting and the crash of something heavy falling to the ground outside. From under the bed, I could see the faint slant of light as one of them kicked open the door to our hut. My stomach tightened. I fought the urge to cry out. "Where are the children?" one of them demanded, his voice thick and strange, words broken and strained in our language. My uncle's voice was soft, steady, but I could hear the tremor beneath it. "They're not here," he lied, keeping his voice low. "They've all gone to the river for fishing." A hard slap echoed through the room, and I bit down on my lip to keep from gasping. Uncle did not cry out, but I could hear the muffled sounds of struggle, the way he tried to shield himself from the next blow. Then the heavy footsteps stomped closer, stopping just beside the bed. I watched in horror as one of their thick boots landed inches from my face. I held my breath, praying to the spirits of my ancestors to make me invisible, to turn me into a stone, or a tiny pebble, anything but a boy beneath the bed. There was a loud bang as the sack on the bed was knocked to the floor, a cascade of dried cassava spilling out onto the dirt. My heart leapt into my throat. The man muttered something, nudging the sack aside, but he moved on, his attention turning elsewhere. I heard them kick over pots, their anger filling every corner of the hut as they searched. Moments later, they were gone, leaving my uncle bruised and coughing on the floor. I crawled out as quietly as I could, my body shaking. Uncle pulled me into his arms, clutching me tightly, his shoulders shaking with silent sobs. For the first time, I saw my uncle weep, his face buried in my shoulder as he whispered words I couldn't understand. When we finally stepped outside, the silence felt different, deeper, and emptier. The other huts stood quiet, smoke rising weakly from some of the fire pits. Mothers stood with vacant faces, looking around as if in a nightmare they could not wake from. The village boys, my friends, my brothers, were gone, taken away by the white men. They would take them far, Uncle said, his voice hoarse. They would teach them new ways, make them forget us. His eyes were distant, hollow. Obalewa, you were hidden today, but you will not be hidden forever. They will come again. In the following days, our village seemed to shrink, its life drained with each sunrise and sunset. Obalewa had always been a place where boys raced through the fields, their laughter filling the air. Now, the paths were empty, filled only with the ghost of memories. I kept to myself, the only boy left, wandering like a shadow among the adults. But I remembered my father's words, whispered to me the night before he went to join the warriors. Obalewa, you are named after strength, he had said. Never forget where you come from, no matter what they try to take from you. With every dawn, I waited and watched. And though my heart ached with loneliness, I clung to the strength in my name, Obalewa, as I hid in plain sight, biding my time until I would be strong enough to bring back the boys of our village.